fiber, that means information is not crossing over. It doesn't necessarily cross from left to right. So therefore, lesions to the cranial nerves can actually affect that one side of the body, depending on the trauma to them. A good example, when we look at the optic nerve, it does cross over at what is known as the optic chiasm. Information will cross over from right to left, left to right, but there's also information that will stay on each side. Like if it's coming in the right, it'll stay on the right. Coming in the left, it'll stay on the left. We'll learn more about that in the special senses. With our cranial nerves, now hold on a second, because some of this I don't want you guys to have to deal with. Okay, so for the next couple of slides, take them out. So I'm not going to ask y'all about the bulbular and that sort of thing. So take that out. Switch to, or X them out, or whatever. Just make a big X. Because this is the part I want you to be familiar with. Now, one of the things about the cranial nerves are numbered in Roman numerals. Don't write 1, 2, 3, 4. They are notated with their Roman numerals. So if I were to give you this picture on the test to label, you wouldn't say pair 1, 2, you wouldn't do that. You would write it with the proper Roman numeral. Does it make sense? And for the most part, they go in order. There's only 2 that flip-flop. So if you were to have to label this and number them, it should be rather simple for you to do that. Okay, and I'm giving y'all a big heads up right here. All right? Now, to name them. Have you ever heard of a mnemonic? There's lots of them out there on the internet. Just type in mnemonic for these cranial nerves. You'll get a bunch of stuff. Okay? And their names are interesting because you're going to have our olfactory, these 2 little bulbs right here, optic, oculomotor, they're in order, except for 2. They are either going to be labeled as being sensory or motor or both. However, for motor function, now remember, motor function means carrying out a response. For our cranial nerve, motor function can either be going, the effect can either go to skeletal muscle or C.
One of these all have pathways, or do some of these have those indirect pathways as well?
There's a mixture, but I don't want you to have to get into that. Just be familiar that Direct means it goes directly from the area to the effect. The indirect has to synapse somewhere else. Now, this is actually leading us up to the next chapter. I've tried to point out pretty heavily. Right now, at this point in time, a lot of what we have learned about the nerves has been to skeletal muscle. When we talk about it going to viscera, we're going to be moving into our autonomic nervous system. At this point in time, once again, trying to give y'all some heads up for the test, okay? At this point in time, we have done our central nervous system, brain, spinal cord, and peripheral. Going to all this periphery of the body for the skeletal muscle. Autonomic's going to start in 15, and that's going to get us into how we get information from the inside of our body. Pretty much everything we've talked about up to this point has covered outside the body. Does that make sense? Okay. This is going to be leading us up to getting into the autonomic nervous system, because autonomic, have y'all heard of sympathetic and parasympathetic? Okay. That's what we're going to talk about. So this is a list of those nerves numbered 1 through 12, and whether they're going to be sensory, motor, or both. Their names. Now, is it going to be important to spell them correctly? Yes, most definitely.
Oh.
Yes. Your Part 1 professor did require that, right?
Yeah, we had a word bank of like 50 words.
Mine was a little Scantron. That was like 250 questions Scantron, but dude wrote test per word, and it was crazy.
No, that does no favors. Because when you get out into taking your test that you've got to take, you're not going to have a word bank. You're not going to have you telling you something to spell the word correctly. When you get into your programs, they're not going to give you a word bank. When you go do clinical, they're not going to give you a word bank. They're going to expect you to know it. They're going to expect you to spell it. They're going to expect you to read it. They're going to expect you to say it. Okay? So that needs to begin. So all of that. Know it, spell it, all of it. So I think that still applies to the textbook because we're still not in the 8th edition yet. So this is the stuff that I want you to know for the cranial nerves. Any questions about Chapter 14?
Is learning and studying all this stuff, is that already in the study guide, or am I doing that in addition to whatever we are in the study guide?
I'm pretty sure it's in the study guide. I can't remember. Now, when you say study guide, do you mean the one that's like the learning objectives, or
No,
what
I mean
I put together?
Big, thick one.
The big thick one? I can't remember, but double check. But the one that I created probably has it.
That's what I was talking about, the one you pulled up and it was like a wall of question text.
Now, okay, that's what I was trying to figure out. Are you asking about the
one you made, yeah.
the one I made? Yeah, it's probably in there. It is? Okay, good deal. All right.